you're confused between the Realme GT60 and the POCO F6, this is the only video you need to watch. Let's get started. Let's talk about the design first. This is how both phones look. POCO has an understated functional look while Realme is going for a flashy look. And this part of the phone is a fingerprint magnet. The in-hand feel is also better on POCO as it's slimmer and lighter compared to Realme. Other than that, sides and back are plastic on both phones. They have all the usual buttons and ports except for the headphone jack. Yes, gaming phones without headphone jacks. 2024 things. The only difference is the IP rating. The GT60 comes with IP65 while it's IP64 on F6. Apart from that, both phones have an X-axis vibration motor, but I prefer the haptics on POCO over Realme as they are better tuned, while Realme's haptics feel sharp. Lastly, the proximity sensor is an ultrasonic one on POCO, but I had no issues taking calls on it. When it comes to the display, both the phones offer a stunning 1.5K 120Hz AMOLED panel, and there are some things that POCO does better and there are some things that Realme does better. First of all, it's an LTPO panel on the GT60, which is a big plus compared to the LTPS panel on the F6 because it helps a lot in battery life, which I'll discuss later in this video. Secondly, Realme's display look brighter than POCO when you place them side by side, but it's a minor difference. Other than that, Realme offers a better screen protection and also comes with AOD, which is missing in POCO. But when it comes to movie watching experience, POCO is definitely better as it offers Dolby Vision support in Netflix, which is currently missing in Realme. Plus, the stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos sounds richer on POCO. The in-display fingerprint scanner on both the phones work fine and even work with wet fingers as you can use both the displays with wet hands. Lastly, it's a curved panel on Realme and a flat panel on POCO. Now I can't tell you which one is better because it all depends on you whether you are into curves or not. When it comes to the performance and gaming, it's not really a battle of POCO versus Realme, it's in fact the battle between Snapdragon versus Snapdragon. And you know what? Qualcomm is the real winner. Wait, what? Okay, the Realme GT60 brings the latest Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 while POCO is powered by Snapdragon 8s Gen 3. If we take a look at the CPU clock speeds, you will notice that the 8s Gen 3 is just an overclocked version of the 7 Plus Gen 3, but it gets better GPU along with ray tracing support. Apart from that, these are the different storage and RAM variants for both POCO and Realme. The 8128 base variant of the Realme GT60 comes with UFS 3.1 storage, while on POCO, the 8256 is the base model and there's UFS 4.0 storage on all three variants. This is something you should know before you add that CVV number. By the way, we are running these benchmarks on the top variants of both phones, so let's see the results. In Antutu, these are the scores, and I'm surprised to see that Realme is scoring better even though it's lower clocked. The scores are pretty neck to neck in Geekbench CPU, and in GPU, the 8s Gen 3 does a bit better. In CPU throttling, Realme does worse with just 50% stability, while POCO manages above 90% in both 15 minutes 20 threads and also 60 minutes 100 threads. Lastly, in 3D Mark, the stability is again better on POCO, but it suffers with overheating as the temperature crossed 45 degrees even with AC turned on, while Realme runs at 38 degrees only. The thing is, we experience the same overheating issues in other 8s Gen 3 phones as well, especially while running benchmarks. Now in gaming also, both the phones are quite close, but with better GPU, POCO gains better FPS in COD Warzone as it runs at around 85 to 90 FPS, while Realme manages to get only 55 to 60 FPS. In Genshin, POCO maintains a constant 60 FPS in the highest settings, while Realme drops to 55 FPS at times. In Grid Autosport, both the phones are limited to 30 FPS for now, and same goes to BGMI where both the phones are stuck at 60 FPS. In COD Mobile, POCO supports 120 FPS while Realme is stuck at 60 FPS as of yet. Now game settings aside, the temperatures peaked at 42 to 43 degrees after 30 minutes of intense gaming on both the phones. Apart from benchmarks and gaming, both the phones perform really well in daily usage. They are both snappy and fast with good RAM management, and I did not face any weird issues throughout my testing. Now let's talk about the software experience. POCO F6 is running on the HyperOS while Realme GT60 is running on the Realme UI 5.0. Both the phones are promised to get 3 OS updates and 4 years of security patches. Coming to the important part now, the bloatware. There are 6 pre-installed apps on the Realme while POCO has 14 pre-installed apps, which is definitely a lot. You really have to set up both of these phones very carefully as there are ads as well. One thing I noticed is that the animations feel much smoother on Realme compared to POCO, be it scrolling, app opening or closing, or casually using the device. On HyperOS, you do get some AI features such as image expansion, magic eraser, AI sky, etc. But on Realme, you don't get any of that as of yet. Now before I show you the photos, these are the camera specs of both the phones. The rear sensors are pretty evenly matched on both phones, but on front you get a 32 megapixel Sony sensor on Realme, while it's 20 megapixel OmniVision sensor on POCO. In daylight shots, both phones take very good photos. photos. POCO photos are on the natural side while Realme oversaturates a bit. Also, the HDR is handled better on POCO. In ultra-wide shots, POCO does have better field of view, but the clarity and sharpness on Realme is much better. In nighttime, both phones take equally good photos, but when you zoom in, you can clearly see the lack of details, but I find the colors to be better on Realme. In portrait mode as well, the bokeh and the details are the same. It's just that the Realme oversaturates the colors a bit too much. Now coming to the front camera, both the phones take very good selfies, but the details are much better on Realme. Lastly, in terms of videos, both the phones can do 4K 60 from the rear camera, but it's hard to tell which video is better. When it comes to video features, you can do 1080p 240fps slow-mo on POCO, while you are limited to 120fps on Realme. But on Realme, you can also record portrait videos in 1080p 30, and it has an option for dual video recording as well. Realme also has an edge in selfie videos as it can do 4K 30, while POCO is limited to 1080p 60. When it comes to the battery, you get a 5000 mAh battery on POCO and 5500 mAh battery on Realme. You do get 120 watt chargers in the box for both the phones, but POCO supports only 90 watts. When it comes to battery life, I got an SOT of around 5 hours on POCO, but on Realme, I got 7 hours. The extra 500 mAh plus the LTPO panel really helps. Lastly, the overnight battery drain was only around 4% on both the devices with mobile data and Bluetooth turned on. On the connectivity front, both these phones have Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.4, NFC, IR blaster, but the Type-C port on both the devices is still USB 2.0. The difference comes in 5G bands as POCO has 15 5G bands while Realme comes with 9 5G bands. But in my 2 weeks of using these two devices, I did not face any connectivity issues, be it indoors or outdoors. The POCO F6 starts at 29,999 for the 8256 variant, and you can get it for 28k with the bank discounts. And the Realme GT60 starts at 30,999, but that is for the 8128 model with UFS 3.1 storage. I'd recommend you get the 8256 instead. It starts at 32,999 and with 4,000 rupees bank discount, you can get it for 29k. POCO has an edge here in terms of gaming performance as well as the multimedia experience. Yes, it tends to heat up and the battery life is moderate, but other than that, it's all good. Realme GT60 also has its positives in terms of the LTPO display, better battery life, runs cooler than POCO, and has a slight edge in terms of camera performance. See, both the phones are quite similar in terms of performance, so it all depends on the rest of the things that matters to you. So that was it, guys. I hope this video helped you pick the right phone, and if it did, press that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing tech videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.